Zen Browser is one of those browsers that feels different almost immediately. It's a fork of Firefox, but instead of simply giving you another browser window with tabs across the top, Zen takes a different approach to how you organize, navigate, and interact with the web. So rather than covering every setting and tiny feature, here are 6 Zen features that I think are actually worth knowing. Let's start with one of the biggest ones, Workspaces. Workspaces let you organize different sets of tabs into separate browsing environments. You could have one workspace for work, another for personal browsing, and another for a specific project or hobby. Instead of having 30 tabs open and trying to remember which ones belong to which project, you can switch workspaces and immediately get the tabs you need. Your different browsing contexts stay separated without requiring a collection of separate browser windows. This becomes especially useful when you're doing research. Imagine you're planning a trip. You could have one workspace for flights, another for hotels, and another for things to do. Your tabs don't have to compete with each other, and you don't need to constantly open and close windows just to stay organized. Then there's containers. Containers let you separate different browsing contexts inside the same browser. A site can have different cookies, logins, and other site data depending on which container you're using. Imagine you use one Google account for work and another for personal use. Normally, keeping both logged in can be awkward. With containers, you can open the same service in different containers and keep those sessions separated. The same idea works for social media, shopping, banking, or basically any website where you want different browsing contexts kept apart. And the important thing is that containers aren't the same thing as workspaces. Workspaces organize your tabs. Containers separate the browsing context those tabs use. You can even combine the two, which is where Zen starts becoming really interesting. Next up is one of the newer and more visually interesting features, Boosts. Boosts let you customize the websites you visit rather than just customizing Zen itself. You can use them to change things like colors, fonts, page styling, and other visual elements, depending on what the boost does. So if a website is difficult to read, you don't like its color scheme, or you simply want it to look different, you can modify the way that site appears inside Zen, and this is different from Zen's own interface customization. You're not changing the browser around the website, you're changing the website itself. It's the kind of feature that's much easier to understand when you see it in action because you can take a normal web page, apply a boost, and suddenly it looks completely different. Then we have Essentials. Essentials are designed for websites you use constantly. Instead of treating something like Gmail, YouTube, Spotify, or your calendar as another tab that can disappear into a huge list, you can keep it readily accessible in the sidebar. The useful part is how Essentials fit alongside Workspaces. Your workspace can contain the tabs you're actively working with, while your essentials stay available for the websites you use all the time. So there's a clear distinction between something you're working on right now and something you always want within reach. Next is Glance. Normally, when you click a link, you open another tab. Then you click another link, and suddenly you have 10 tabs that you never actually needed. Glance is designed for those quick checks. Instead of opening a link as another permanent tab, you can preview the page on top of the tab you're already using. If it's not useful, close it and move on. If it is useful, you can turn it into a regular tab. It's especially useful when you're researching. You can quickly check a source, see whether it's worth reading, and move on without filling your workspace with tabs you'll probably never look at again. And finally, there's Split View. Split View lets you display multiple tabs next to each other inside the same browser window. This is perfect for situations where you need to compare or reference two things at once. You could compare two products, watch a video while taking notes. You could have a document on one side and research on the other, or keep a reference page open while working in another web app. And because both pages are inside the same browser window, you don't have to constantly switch between windows or manually resize them just to keep two things visible. And that's really what I like about Zen. None of these features individually completely reinvent the browser. It's the way they work together. Zen isn't trying to win by being another conventional browser with a slightly different interface. It's trying to make the browser feel more like a workspace. And those are the Zen Browser features I actually love.